Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy this Manhwa recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Our story begins with a precise swing of a blade, accompanied by the dark blood of a monster wolf. The battle is not over, however, as a hawk monster descends on the lone soldier. With a swift downward slash, the soldier cuts the beast in two, and the scene zooms out showing the bodies of many dismembered monsters that now lie at the feet of the lone soldier. An injured god recognizes the man, because only one person can be responsible for this feat, and introduces our protagonist, the immortal crow, Raven Vault. I mean, this guy would have been a sick character in Game of Thrones. Look how badass he looks. Anyways. The name Raven Vault is one that many demons fear, and as Raven finishes off the injured goblin, he reflects on his journey, noting how far he has come, and in only 15 days, he will finally regain his freedom, and swears to get out of this nightmare. Walking back into the camp, Raven is greeted by the sight of men cowering in fear, as well as others drinking to their heart's content. 10 years has he been a part of this unit, and judging by the scars on his face, he has met death more than once. But this is the fate of those who serve in the Demon Corps, whose ranks consist mostly of criminals and slaves who fight on the front lines, fighting the endless demons. As Raven continues his path, he receives stares and slander from his comrades that mock his lineage, but still acknowledge his strength. He turns a blind eye to these remarks until he's stopped by a thug and two henchmen. This won't end well. After being provoked by the thug, Raven wastes no time and delivers a devastating knee to his abdomen, incapacitating the thug. Directly after, in a swift motion, stops his sword centimeters from one of the henchmen's neck. Now that their lives are in Raven's hands, they can't even mutter a word. Raven grabs the last henchman by his forehead and slams him into the ground. "If you want to die before being eaten by the demons, you can always count on me," Raven says coldly. Humiliation builds in the thug's face as he can only swear under his breath. But these are the same thugs who ridiculed the noble-blooded Raven and predicted he wouldn't even last 1 year in this camp. But here he is after 10. We are introduced to Raven's family, the Vault household. Though not famous nor powerful, it still existed as one of the many noble households of the land, but everything was soon lost. We are taken to the events that led to the serving 10 years in the Demon Corps. Chained and on his knees, Raven is forced to watch his family estate be burned to the ground, and the man responsible proclaims the treasonous Vault household plotted against the Empire, and thus deserved such a fate. Set up? Raven yells, trying to prove his innocence, but to no avail. After pleading, he is grabbed by the hair and is asked if he wants to join his now dead parents in the ash of the burning building. Raven is given another option: fight the demons for 10 years, and if he can accomplish that, he may have his pathetic life. 10 years in a place where the lowest part of society are sent, and close to all of those people never return. But instead of wallowing in despair, Raven asks if these conditions are truly as the man says, and after being reassured, Raven swears to rebuild his household right in front of the burning building that contains his dead parents. Back to the present, Raven is counting the days until he can finally clear his last name, and over the last 10 years he's gained peerless experience, fighting demons day by day. Killing was the only way for him to survive, and a once pampered prince has become a hardened soldier. Raven prepares himself for the last mission, a large-scale demon extermination. This is the last hurdle he must jump to clear his family's name. The scene jumps to Anona Forest, a territory in the Pendragon household. A young blonde-haired boy nervously approaches a figure of a dragon, and it begins to speak. "Oh, my knight, the time to fulfill our oath is drawing near," says the dragon. Dragons, noble beings, viewed to be the strongest life forms to grace the planet. Only one household has ever been able to utilize this power, the Pendragon Dukehold. The Pendragons are known for the ability to tame dragons, and due to their companions, have historically held great influence in the Empire as one of the most prominent households. 13 days left for Raven's freedom. In the Demon Corps commander's tent, Raven enters. His superior comments on how Raven has returned alone yet again, calling him the god of death, and asks the result of the scouting mission assigned to him. "There are way too many demons on the front line, and the chances of our troops succeeding is 0, Raven says. Mockingly, the officer agrees with Raven that normally their forces would be no match, but informs Raven that they will be assisted by the Pendragon household, and the most notable of these reinforcements will be a dragon. Surprised, Raven questions if such a beast will come to their aid. His superior reassures him that the Pendragon household has tamed dragons for generations and will assist them in the battle to come. A common soldier such as Raven has only ever heard of dragons in fairy tales and legend, and wonder if a beast can be used as a familiar. We finally know the name of Raven's superior Baltai, so I'll refer to him as such. Raven then recollects that the Pendragon household's predecessor has died, and since this event has been losing influence over the years. So Raven's a little skeptical, but has no right to refuse an order. but is told by Baltai that his responsibility is not fighting, but watching over the young Pendragon Lord. Raven agrees as Baltai smiles and instructs him to introduce himself to the future Duke. Our hero approaches the noble Pendragon tent, surprised why someone of such status would come to such a lowly place. Raven remembers Baltai referring to the Lord as a brat, and thinks he'll be stuck on babysitting duty. Since this is Raven's last battle, winning or losing is of no relevance to him. Survival is all that matters. As he enters the tent, he is immediately asked of his identity by a commanding voice, startling Raven. Noting that the sound does not resemble that of a human, Raven exhales and drops to one knee, apologizing for his rudeness, and asks if the one he is speaking to is the lord of the Pendragon household. The voice agrees and asks Raven to explain his purpose. Raven then introduces himself as the 12th squad commander and relays his orders to protect the young lord. He is told that that will not be necessary, and Raven is lost for words. The voice asks him if that concludes his business, but Raven questions the voice, asking if he indeed has brought the dragon, explaining how this battle will only be winnable with its presence. The voice reassures Raven that the dragon will attend the battle and urges Raven to leave. Raven takes his leave and questions if the Lord was really a child. He does not understand the situation, but he doesn't need to, since tomorrow will be his last order he will ever have to follow. A new day has come, and Baltai screams to his troops, preparing them for the arrival of the Pendragon Lord. But as Baltai is approaching the tent, and before he can get another word out, the tent explodes, shocking the onlooker, revealing a majestic dragon. Raven could do nothing but watch in awe at the appearance of the white dragon, and in front of it stands Lord Pendragon, clad in a full set of armor. He introduces himself as Aaron Pendragon and calls for the start of the demon subjugation. With the help of the dragon, the demons were no match. Raven is fighting on the floor protecting the young master, but tells him he's not accustomed to fighting while protecting someone else, and urges him not to make any sudden movements as they are surrounded by 3 wolf monsters. As the dragon deals with the airborne creatures, Raven has the task of defeating the ones in front of him. He taunts the mutts to come at him, and with a swift movement, slays all the incoming demons. Raven looks up at the dragon preparing a breath attack, and fires a large blue breath towards the monsters, lighting a sizable amount of them in flames. The dragon continues its assault, as Raven can only watch surprised that such a beast even exists. He knows now that no demon can stand up to the might of a dragon and acknowledges its strength. Did he just do the anime equivalent of, did that hit him? I mean, I guess we'll find out. He smiles and thinks how easy this battle is turning out. He checks on the young lord and asks if he or his dragon has suffered any wounds. After seeing that both are unharmed, he signals that the end of the battle is near. But as soon as he says this, a horde of bird monsters circles above them. He tries to get the Lord to order his dragon to deal with these creatures, but he sees them looking at each other in a blank daze. The monsters descend on the dragon, and it closes its eyes. Raven thinks the dragon can easily deal with such a situation, but is instead shocked to see the dragon is letting the creatures attack it. Raven screams, asking why the dragon isn't fighting back, and grips the young lord, trying to understand the situation. But before he can get an answer, another wave of demons approaches. Surprised at the number of remaining demons, Raven thinks, as long as the ally is a dragon, we will win. But he scoffs at himself for letting his guard down, and the scene shifts to a now battered and bleeding Raven, watching his comrades being eaten alive, and the distance is the now slain white dragon. What a mess, he says faintly, as blood drips from his face. The field is full of human corpses as the monsters begin to feast, goblins chuckling as they try to pounce on a wounded Raven. But even broken and bloodied, Raven Vault would not die from steady attack, and he makes quick work of the goblins. Fatigue starts showing on his face as more blood spills from his body. The situation is dire as he looks to the white dragon and can only think that the two of them are fools. Stepping towards the dragon, he asks if it's truly dead, but immediately under the dragon, the young lord coughs up blood, shocking Raven as he wonders how the lord is even still alive. He grabs him and wants him to answer one question before he dies. "Why did your dragon stop attacking midway?" says Raven. At the time when the bird monsters descended on the dragon, it's almost like it accepted its fate, but all the Pendragon Lord can do is give Raven a lifeless stare. Now furious, Raven screams, saying how the battle was won if the dragon continues his attacks. "Why did you give up? Answer me," says Raven. Before getting an answer, he is struck from behind, and Baltai mocks Raven that even being pierced through the heart was not enough to kill him, and that the Immortal was truly a fitting name. Raven, bewildered, seeing Baltai leading the Imperial army to defeat the remaining demons. Raven cannot understand this turn of events, as Baltai scoffs at him, letting him know that this was planned from the start. Baltai now points his axe at Pendragon's neck as the young lord closes his eyes. Baltai severs his head from his body with a wicked grin. The events startle Raven even more as Baltai laughs at him, saying how Pendragon's death was determined long ago, and so was Raven's. Baltai steps on Raven's back, putting him into the floor, mocking him that just a little while longer, and he would have been free. Admiring his healing capabilities, He asks Raven if he can withstand decapitation. Raven starts to question his own existence, how hard he's worked, and how helpless he feels. It's just like the time when he was watching his house burn. Laughing at the irony of our protagonist, Baltai proclaims that only the powerless have to endure such a fate and die in a place like this. And no matter how close Raven was, he was always destined to die. Before killing Raven, he tells him that all the events in his life, from his family's accusations to him being assigned to the demon corps, was all part of a greater scheme. And the shocked Raven is still unable to process any of the information, and he's kicked again. The only thing Baltai didn't account for was the fact that the dragon was so weak, but he crowns a wicked expression as he bids farewell to the little crow, Raven Vault, smiling while he swings his axe down, decapitating Raven, thus ending the Vault household. The impaled dragon, thought to be dead, now opens his eyes, removes the spears lodged in its body, sees the heads of the young lord and Raven, and says, "All the conditions have been fulfilled." Blood from the field rises into a singular point and converges into a circle. The dragon extends its wings right below its creation. A blood of 1,000 humans, the blood of 1,000 demons, the blood of a royal, the blood of a royal dragon. The meeting of the sun and the moon. These fulfill the conditions of the oath. The dragon's horn emits a strange energy. The heads of the two lords vanish from the floor. The wounded dragon looks at the sky and remarks, "Everything will be on you now, Dragon Rider." These are the dragon's last words before it too loses its head. As Raven sinks further into the depths of his consciousness, he questions if he's really dead, but this feeling is oddly familiar to him. It's the same feeling he has when he regenerates on the battlefield, so maybe he did survive. His eyes open to the sight of a strange maid checking his pulse, further confusing our protagonist. As he tries to get up and scan the environment, he startles the young maid as she refers to him as young master and runs to fetch help. Being called young master and the elegance of the room he is sleeping in confuses Raven. Footsteps can be heard approaching the door as the family butler hurriedly enters the room asking if their young master finally woke up, accompanied by a maid and another blonde woman. They are brought to tears at the sight of Raven simply standing and further inquire about his health. A still confused Raven starts conversing with the trio, trying to find out who and where he is. He's informed that he's in the Pendragon household castle, Conrad, and also is informed that he is its lord. Raven cannot even comprehend the words that were just muttered and quickly finds a bowl of water to check his reflection. Instead of seeing a scarred veteran face, he is instead surprised to see long blonde hair and blue eyes. Still perplexed and in thought, the surrounding members of the household assume he's forgotten his identity. The butler ignores this remark, as this reaction is typical of someone who's been asleep for 3 years. 3 years? Has it really been 3 years since Raven's last battle? He is so sure he died that day, so what on earth is going on? Raven finally comes to understand that he has now become Aaron Pendragon. The mother of Aaron rushes into the room, worried about her only son, and joins the trio as they sit around the now awake and healthy Aaron. "Aaron, you woke up!" the mother exclaims. This further confirms Raven's thoughts that he had become a different person. The mother run-throughs the older lady in the room, shocking Raven as if she wasn't even there. This situation would blow my mind. He's taking it well, to be honest. Before he can ask, however, the ghastly grandma gives him a slight gesture signaling him not to mention her presence. Aaron's mother embraces the boy, and all Raven can do is wonder if this is a dream. No memories of Aaron Pendragon reside in Raven's consciousness, so he doesn't know how to react. Still questioning the identity of the lady that only he seems to see, she points to the window. As Raven turns, he is startled to see the white dragon from before. We now find the dragon's name is Soldrake. Soldrake lets out a menacing roar that shatters the walls, separating it from Raven. Why does Raven know the name of this dragon? This is the same dragon he saw impaled on the battlefield. How are the two still alive? The situation keeps taking more confusing turns. Aaron's mother steps in front of her son, stretching her arms, asking the dragon not to harm her son any longer. She closes her eyes and is ready to die for Raven. What a mother. I mean, this is the kind of love our boy needs after the last couple days, to be honest. The ghastly grandma finally makes her debut, fearlessly calming the dragon. Raven lunges towards the grandma, thinking she was in danger, but Aaron's mother was confused on who he is reaching out to and urges him to sit down and rest. Our ghastly grandma gives him a cheeky wink, and Raven knows that he must be the only one who can see her. After this exchange, the dragon leaves the estate, and with this, the ghastly grandma vanishes. The butler, now holding Aaron's mother, asking for her well-being. We come to find that the butler's name is Melvin, and the now trio shifts their focus back to Aaron. He finally understands the situation. From the extravagant castle to the appearance of the white dragon, Raven has really become Aaron Pendragon. He gets into character, referring to the lady as mother and telling her that he is fine. He sees the futility in remaining confused and will start to play along to gather more information, and this, at the same time, try not to blow his cover. Being in the body of a spoiled noble makes Raven reflect on his tenure in the Demon Corps. We see him atop a mountain of corpses, and over the last 10 years, he has killed indiscriminately just to survive. His skill has been polished, accompanied by his superhuman regeneration. Plot armor. A warrior that has no peer, no demon, or no human could compare to him. Obtained Prairie Demon Subjugation. This was the last battle Raven has been a part of. The battle where Raven's death was planned. Now Raven is in the body of a young Pendragon, and has figured out that he's been sent back 7 years in the past. Instead of fighting on the front lines like a savage, our protagonist is being spoon-fed. I mean, he did just get his head cut off, so I guess he deserves it. It's been a couple days since Raven awoke, and the young maid is frivolously attending to his every need, and telling him that these are the doctor's orders. The maid in question is named Lindsay, and she has been by Aaron Pendragon's side since he's fallen into a coma. Raven does not seem to be a fan of this treatment, but has no choice but to follow through. The maid offers to help the young master get dressed, but Raven insists he can do it himself. Raven exits to the bathroom and asks Lindsay to prepare his clothes and a headband. Before he can get there, an already startled Lindsay is urging the young master not to get out of bed and let his body rest. All this nagging probably makes Raven want to return to killing demons. Raven is not used to having every little thing done for him. Raven is seething and probably itching to train his body again. Lindsay asks if something's the matter, but Raven quickly says it's nothing. As Raven is conversing with Lindsay, the door opens, showing Raven's new sisters, who are absolutely adorable. I mean, look at this beautiful family. Raven, however, does not seem pleased as he tries to fake a smile. Raven's new little sister Mia runs towards her brother and hugs his leg. Raven tries to put on a soft smile, but we can clearly see his struggle. The older sister inquires about his health, but sees Raven is doing just fine, and the siblings sit by the bedside. The older sister Arya invites Raven to see the blooming flowers in the courtyard when he can muster his strength. As Arya goes on, Raven thinks that his sister is very talkative, but thanks to that, he has gotten a lot of information about Aaron's past, which will better help him assimilate into his new life. Raven learns that the young lord, instead of wielding a sword or commanding the troops, has resided himself in his room with a hobby of painting and reading. These hobbies have gained Aaron the reputation of a coward, and since his sword skills were not up to par, he tended to avoid confrontation. This was the start of the decline of the Pendragon house. And now Raven's badass is here, so all that about to change. According to the servants, Aaron was bedridden for 3 years at the age of 14, and for some unknown reason, Raven has taken over this body. The why, however, is not important. What's important is that he's 7 years in the past, and you bet your ass Raven has some debts to collect. He now has a second chance to do what he set out to do in the Demon Corps. He will not waste this opportunity. He first draws his attention to what Baltai was saying prior to his death. Raven remembers every event that happened in his life, and it was preordained, and Baltai was involved in this scheme. Solving the mystery behind this is Raven's reason to fight, as he wears an excited grin. His sister interrupts him and asks about Lady Luna. Obviously, Raven has no idea who this is and asks her to continue. He's informed that Lady Luna is coming to see him and that she is his fiancée. Lady Luna is part of the Pendragon Cavalry and is the foster daughter of Count. Raven cannot handle normal people's stuff and he just wants to fight, so a fiancé just seems like more stress to him. The scene shifts to Lady Luna's party. The head knight comments on how they are close to the castle, and Lady Luna only needs to wait a little while longer. Lady Luna reflects on the timid Aaron and wonders if when she meets him today, will he just hide in the shadows? Having a conversation with Aaron was nearly impossible for her, and the only reason that they were engaged was for the benefit of Luna's family. However, this engagement has come to an end due to the decline of the Pendragon's power. Lady Luna, however, was never really interested in the weak-minded Aaron, and in all honesty, was relieved when it was called off. Her captain knight tries to spark up some conversation, but Lady Luna does not seem interested. Sir Breeden scoffs at our protagonist, saying that even if he woke up, it doesn't matter. His household is finished. I mean, this guy needs to get his ass. He's talking too much. He's been in here for 1 page. We now find out that the reason Aaron was in a coma was because he failed to form a pact with the White Dragon. This clown starts tooting his own horn trying to impress the lady, saying how he can bring glory to the Sayward household. But before he can finish jerking himself off, Lady Luna coldly asks him to stop. Sir apologizes and leaves. Lady Luna wonders if she'll ever find a real man in either household. Lady Luna arrives at the manor and is greeted by Raven and his family and returns them greetings. Arya runs up to Lady Luna and refers to her as Big Sister and compliments her. Lady Luna, still thrashing Aaron in her mind, saying how he can't even greet her properly without his mother by his side. But Raven just nonchalantly asks her to follow him and he'll escort her to her room. This immediately shocks Lady Luna and wonders if there's a change in our protagonist. Raven asks her if it's okay for her knight to have a different room, and she flusteredly agrees. Raven has been filled in on Luna's personality, but to have such an attitude to her fiancé, Raven really doesn't understand prearranged marriages, but he still leads her to her room. Lindsay leaves the room to fetch some tea, and Raven just points and asks Luna to sit. Luna, however, is very startled at this outcome. The man who cannot even look her in the eyes is now nonchalantly ordering her around. She comments on how Aaron has changed in the past years, but Aaron just responds saying his memories are a little hazy. He sits down, one leg crossed over the other, as comfortable as can be, and Luna cannot help but assume that he's a completely different person, and might be liking him now. She even goes as far as to think that he can restore the honor of the Pendragon's house. I mean, all he did was escort her to the room, but I'm with it. I think so too. Raven needs to collect information while saucing up Lady Luna, so he needs to understand the current affairs of the Pendragon household and its neighbors. He wonders the impact if he caused trouble with the Stewart household, but Raven thinks Luna is hiding something, so he starts to question her. Raven comments on how people around him told him that he has changed, and if it's not to Lady Luna's liking, they can discuss the engagement with the Count. Before he can finish, however, Lady Luna quickly declines his offer with a stressed look on her face. If 10 years of killing demons got girls acting like this around you, I might need to go try this. Lady Luna apologizes for interrupting and eternally thinks on what she is doing. The whole purpose of this trip was to inform Aaron that the marriage is cancelled, and no matter how Chad Aaron has become, the engagement has been called off. But for some reason, she can't even muster the words to tell him. He enters the room again, looking for Aaron, saying how the Duchess has requested his appearance. The jerk-off night from before is causing some trouble, and annoyed Raven just gives a mean look towards Luna. She can only look embarrassed, as Raven asks her if she has some type of scheme. She has been holding something since she arrived, hasn't she? She is still fumbling her words and cannot seem to break the news. She can only think how is she supposed to hate the young master, but she can't understand these new feelings that she has. Raven tells her that they can talk about this later, and for now, they need to deal with her night. Luna agrees as they go to calm down Sir Breeden. A cancellation? The butler is shocked that Count Saylord really wanted this, but with a sly look on his face, Sir Breeden is still talking and says that this is the only reason for their visit. The Duchess, with a worried expression on her face, asks if the Sayrod family is ready to accept the responsibilities that come with doing this. Sir Breeden, still trying to piss everyone off, offers an apology. The Count is ready to offer the gold and crystal mines in the territorial boundaries, in addition to 2 lumber mills in the Brynjard Forest, and are ready to transfer ownership. At least he's saying something useful. The butler and Duchess are both shocked at the deal, and Sir Breeden says if they're not satisfied with this, feel free to voice any suggestions. The current Pendragon household condition cannot possibly refuse this offer due to their financial struggles, but the pride of the family is on the line, and the badass Duchess declines the offer. Breeden asks if this is what she truly means. This is finally a chance to get her finances back in order, but before she can retort, all the surrounding knights kneel, and as the Duchess and butler turn, they see Aaron approaching. Aaron, with both hands in his pocket, casually strolls towards the throne, and the Duchess is relieved. Breeden still has something up his sleeve. Aaron sits on his throne, and Breeden starts to introduce himself, saying how it's been a while since he has last seen Aaron. "Who are you?" says Aaron. Breeden is frozen at this response. Raven reiterates that he does not have any memory of prior events, and Sir Breeden is still convinced that Aaron is a fool, so he continues his scheme. As he tries to introduce himself again, he is stopped midway by Aaron and told to go away. The knight is now utterly shocked. "You are just a mere knight. I'm not interested in you. Go away." Aaron has become such a savage, and the surprise is visible on Sir Breeden's face. Sir Breeden says that Raven should not say such rude things, but Raven reiterates that Sir Breeden is the one who is rude for coming all the way to the castle, boasting about the cancellation of his engagement, and stares at him with his cold blue eyes. "Get out of my sight," Raven reiterates, "and don't make me say it again." Here is a beautiful shot of Sir Breeden being scared like a little girl, and I love it. A trembling Sir Breeden can only look down and walk away. Now, Raven speaks to Lady Luna on the important matter at hand, and invites her to speak on the cancellation, but she seems unprepared for this turn of events. Raven continues and understands that the deal is a gold and crystal mine in addition to 2 lumber mills. Raven agrees and calls it even, shocking everyone in attendance, and the Duchess even wonders how he learned such phrases. The butler voices his concern, saying that Aaron should take more time to think about such an important decision. And little disclaimer, from now on, I'm going to refer to Raven as Aaron, just to avoid a little bit of confusion. Aaron continues and notes that there are many things to be done for the Pendragon household to regain its power, and now is not the time to get worked up on a mere engagement. In addition, even if they wanted to, Lady Luna is unlikely to change her mind. "I can't marry someone like you," Lady Luna thinks, but she is so flustered that she can't even get the words out of her mouth. and now she realizes that she's in love with Eren. Eren notices her struggle and says that she does not need to respond since her opinion is unimportant. He accepts terms for the cancellation, and man, our boy ain't no simp. Eren turns to the Duchess to see if she approves of his actions. She smiles and approves and acknowledges Eren as the head of the household. Eren raises his voice as the head of the house and declares the engagement has been nullified, and we can see the reactions of all the surrounding characters. And I love seeing Sir Reedon upset. Eren is seen walking about this castle, slightly annoyed at having to deal with all this boring engagement stuff. But he is finally happy that he inquired about his family's financials, and actually is pretty pleased with the deal, and notes that the crystal mines will determine if high-level mages will come to the Pendragon household. They pass the portrait of the ghastly grandma from before, and Eren takes a look and is startled to see that it's the lady from before, and asks about her. He is informed that she is the older sister of Eren's father Klein, Atia Pendragon. As the name leaves his lips, she appears behind him, startling Eren. She's not even trying to hide the fact that she's a ghost, and just appears out of nowhere floating. She has a question for the young lord and invites him to chat. Eren enters the room and asks why Lady At come to him. As we already know, she introduces herself as a ghost, and calling a ghost's name is one of the prerequisites to summon them. Eren is just getting more and more confused by the day. 10 years fighting demons, and this is the first time he's speaking to a ghost. Atia gets straight to the point and dons a serious look. "Who on earth are you?" she asks him. "You aren't the real Eren Pendragon, are you?" His cover is blown. Good thing he's the only one who can see her, however. Atia laughs to herself a little and apologizes for speaking in a threatening tone, noting how she always wanted to try it. This is not a surprise to her because Soldrake already informed her of what happened. Eren is shocked that she can speak to dragons and asks if she really knows what happened that day. Atia doesn't know the specifics and asks Eren to share, and he agrees and starts telling the story of Raven Vault. On June 321st of the Imperial calendar, Eren and Raven were killed in action, or that is what Raven thought. But now he is alive in Eren's body 7 years in the past. Atia understands the situation, and Eren asks her if she really believes him. Atia responds saying believing him is irrelevant because now he is Eren, and Soldrake already knows his fake identity. And she even says that the Eren he was protecting at the Battle of the Lutane Prairie was probably a fake. This surprises Eren. The Pendragons have had sacred pacts with Soldrake for generations, and Atia asks Eren if she has ever heard the importance of opening the mausoleum. The Pendragon Mausoleum isn't just a place where ancestors are buried. The Pendragon's power, fortune, familiar spirits of Soldrake are all buried within, and there's also a magical tower that holds the family's secret magic, which can only be learned if he can enter. Basically, it's the source of power that's brought prosperity to the Pendragon's household, and if the mausoleum cannot be opened, the family will begin to decline. The gates can only be opened by a Pendragon successor who can overcome Soldrake's powerful authority and make a pact with the dragon, and there is only one chance to make a pact. If failed, the Lord will have to leave it to future generations, which can prove quite difficult. Even the renowned Klein and his ancestor had a hard time making pacts with Soldrake, and Eren, being the weakest of the bloodline, was not successful, hence his coma. The chance of someone who was defeated once by Soldrake waking up is very low. The White Dragon will only follow those who conquered its authority. Therefore, Soldrake and Eren meeting Raven on the battlefield is close to impossible. Every time Eren thinks he understands the situation, he's hit with another plot twist. The ghastly grandma says, however, that fact is not the point, and the most important thing is that Eren Pendragon woke up with a different soul. And since it's a different soul, Eren will have another chance to form a pact with Soldrake. Atia notes how there are not enough soldiers at Eren's disposal yet and urges him to travel to the Anona Forest and slay demons on the way to the mausoleum and form a pact with Soldrake by showing the power of an heir. And as a true successor of Pendragon household, Atia urges Eren to open the gates of the family mausoleum. But does he have what it takes? Eren, clenching his fists and smiles, accepts the challenge, and since he's used to killing demons, this should be a walk in the park. Eren tells Atia that aside from the Pendragon's influence, he has his own aspirations and will pursue them at any cost. Atia is impressed by his decisiveness and is further interested in the new Eren. She has no complaints, and as long as he successfully makes a pact with Soldrake, she will not get in the way of his goals. Eren thanks Atia and knows now what he must do, but first, he needs to take charge of the family vassals because past Eren's reputation has diminished his power severely. Atia sarcastically says that there will be those who view him as weak and question if he's fit to rule, and Eren needs to solidify that he is the lord of Castle Conrad. A determined Eren vows to have all the forces within half a month. Eren is seen training in the courtyard, rocking dual swords, trying to get back the feeling of fighting, the size of the enemy, the number of combatants, their habits and movements. Back when Eren was killing beasts daily, these were the questions that were constantly in his mind. He breaks a sweat in the shadow spar and importantly notes, never count on your allies. Always handle it by yourself. Only then will the situation not end up in one's death. Eren continues swinging his sword elegantly and full of killing intent. The maid Lindsay interrupts the training session and compliments the young master's skill and bringing him a fresh set of clothes. When Eren first awoke, he was too weak to even hold a sword, but now he is hard in his once frail body and has inherited all of his combat and healing abilities. Lindsay blushes as she sees his chiseled physique, and Eren is grateful just to have another opportunity at life. A knight approaches and inquires on Eren's training, saying how happy he is that Eren is finally training his sword techniques. The knight winks at Eren and encourages him to keep up the good work. This is the head knight of the Pendragon household, Mark Killian. Eren tells him to stop for now, as there are bigger plans to prepare for, which Killian wonders about. Back in the Castle Conrad main hall, Eren has gathered all of the attending soldiers and announced to them that he will soon open the mausoleum. Everyone is shocked at this proclamation, and Killian chimes in that for this to be possible, they will have to capture the Anona Forest, and this will be no easy task, remarking how Eren has only trained for a couple days. I guess this is time for our boy to flex his real power. Eren asks for the situation near the gate. The area is littered with monsters and bandits. The towns try to hold a meager defense, but it's only a matter of time before their gates break and monsters flood into their home. But no matter how dangerous the journey may be, Eren has to go. The butler urges Eren to think rationally and let Killian devise some strategies. Eren, looking at the situation, notes there is not enough shoulders to protect and operate the newly acquired crystal mine, and there is no choice but to reopen Rainan. There is not much time for the expedition, and everyone will depart in 15 days. Killian jumps at the opportunity to lead the operation, but is met with a blank stare as Eren smiles at him. "It is so strange for me to lead," Eren says, as he challenges Sir Killian to a duel. Killian, wondering if it's truly okay, saying how expedition cannot be led by someone who only reads and paints. Eren laughs this off and says if Sir Killian truly is a knight, he will let his sword do the talking. Eren crouches down, hand on the hilt of his sword, drawing it in a quick attack towards Killian, who blocks it, barely being able to unsheath his own sword. He thinks the strike is heavy, but Eren keeps up the pressure. Killian retaliates with a wide swing, but Eren easily dodges. Mid-air, Eren switches grip of his sword and prepares for an aerial strike on Sir Killian. The strike is blocked by the knight, but the force propels his sword back behind his head. How can the kid who's trained for a couple days and just woke up from a coma, how will he ever beat me? Asks Sir Killian. Eren, with a bored expression, continues the fight, but seems to be easily in control. On the other hand, Sir Killian is breathing very heavily. Eren smiles as he sheaths his sword and sends a quick jab with that butt of the sword towards Killian's abdomen, knocking the wind out of him. Killian, unable to catch his breath, is forced to yield. The surrounding knights are in awe of their master's skill. Eren drops his sword and reiterates with a menacing stare. In 15 days, he will open the gates and make a pact with the White Dragon, and if anyone has an objection, now is their time. I mean, that's one way to get people to follow you. The soldiers bow and agree to the expedition. Eren assembles his army, ready to lead them to the Anona Forest, clad in a full set of armor. The Duchess calls his name and hugs him. "Please return safely," she says. "Just return home. That's all that matters." Eren is still not used to receiving such affection and reassures his mother that he will return after conquering the dungeon and opening the mausoleum. We can see his teary-eyed sisters as they bid him farewell, but don't worry guys, I think Eren will be back. He's got that plot armor. I think he'll be alright. Lindsay brings Eren's horse, and Eren mounts his horse, preparing to embark on his journey. They are joined by Breeden and Lady Luna for some reason, and the butler Meldon kneels down and offers Eren the family sword, Widow's Grief. He takes the sword and brings it close to his face, and swears to restore the honor of both the Pendragon and Vault household. He will fight for his cause once more. He unsheaths his sword and unleashes a war cry to start the march. "For the glory of Pendragon," he yells as he sets off. Hungry wolf monsters can be seen drooling at the incoming soldiers. Killian informs Eren of the pack of demons, and he coolly orders them to crush the creatures. Dual-wielding his own sword with Widow's Grief, he makes quick work of the demons and urges them to press forward. His supporters look in awe, as Sir Breeden can be seen looking quite annoyed. The army arrives at Fortress Belent Gate, and Eren stops them and orders his troops to set up camp. He ventures inside to analyze the situation, and a dirty Lindsay thanks Eren for his hard work and offers him some water. He hits her with the most romantic stuff in the story so far and wipes some dirt away from her face, and I thought this was an action novel. I don't know this is but anyway, he tells her to wash off her face and take the rest of the day off. She tries to be useful, but Eren urges her that he is fine and to rest. Lindsay reluctantly agrees. The situation is worse than Eren thought. There is not enough manpower to hold the fort, and the lack of materials doesn't help either. The soldiers' equipment is ragged and rusted, and Aaron recalls that Bellant Gate is an important location, but all these soldiers seem to do is just loiter around. Aaron calls to Sir Killian and inquires on what the knights are doing. A nervous Killian breaks the news that the knights have abandoned their post and became a group of bandits, which further infuriates Aaron. He will show them discipline. Aaron waves it off and instructs Killian that they will capture the traitors and to prepare the men. "I'm going to chop the limbs off those bastards," Aaron states with a slight smile. We see the makeshift bandit camp that was made in an abandoned monastery and the soldiers drinking the night away. They mock Aaron and laugh at him for only now waking up and express their boredom with only killing women and children. Oh, their death won't be painless. We see a horrible scene of abused and murdered children. The Medit leader wonders what Aaron will look like when he beats him to a pulp. Back inside the Duke's private room in Bellant Gate, we see a casually dressed Aaron ordering Killian and Sir Breeden to add more troops to tomorrow's subjugation. Killian voices his concern that a shortage of soldiers will leave the barriers undefended, but Sir Breeden says that they can borrow soldiers from Count Seyrod. Aaron, however, is not quick to trust Sir Breeden and wonders really what this rat is planning, but as long as he is useful, Aaron will keep him around. Aaron wonders if the soldiers of the gate will follow him, but Killian reminds him that there's no time to worry about appearances. He tells Aaron that the boss of the thieves is Del Joffrey, and he managed to amass around 20 soldiers into his bandit group, and that number may be increasing. Aaron compliments Killian on the quick uptake, and further urges him to explain the situation. Joffrey is a knight skilled with the sword, but is incredibly arrogant, just like a Sir Breeden 2.0. He demanded the title along with 3 territories after Aaron's coma, but was refused, and then he turned to treason. He now dominates an area south of the village and is unopposed. Aaron is slightly impressed with Joffrey's decision-making, saying he would have done something similar in this situation. Killian continues describing the crimes of the bandit leader and the atrocities he commits on women and children. Eliminating him is of top priority. Aaron oversees the strategy, but leaves Killian in command. This confused Killian, but Aaron says that Pendragon soldiers have been following him for years, and it will be hard for Aaron to lead them when he has not built a bond with them yet. He leaves them in Killian's care. Killian blushes and eagerly accepts his role. Sir Breeden will also take part as a cavalry knight, surprisingly, and Aaron schedules the event for the next morning and urges the two to get some rest. We now see Joffrey tormenting a mother and child who are begging for their lives. He swings his sword and puts a slash through the forehead of the mother, leaving her lifeless on the ground next to her poor daughter. He turns his wicked gaze toward the young girl and kills her. I mean, if they want me to hate this guy, they succeeded. I can't wait to see what happens to him now. Joffrey thinks that now is the time to take the fortress and deal with the Pendragon brat. He even wants to have his mother for himself and has his eyes on the Pendragon household. He laughs to himself, and Aaron and Killian are observing the landscape on horseback, wondering how people can live in such a poor environment. Aaron asks if this is the same story for the surrounding villages as well, and unfortunately, around 70% of the territory is in the same boat. They have no one to turn to, Killian says. It seems Aaron will have to postpone his original goal and tend to developing the territories first. Interrupting his thoughts, Aaron looks up and sees a flying monster approaching. A harpy flies right at Aaron, delighting him. He says it came just in time. Harpies, huh? They sure have some damn good timing, Aaron says. He swings at the beast, stopping its assault, and orders 5 archers with good arm strength to step forward and capture it alive. The harpy is brought down, and Aaron is happy with his achievement and orders his men to fall back. Killian is worried about demons being so far into their territory, but before he can finish the thought, they can hear rustling in the bushes next to them. A group of 3 smooth-brained goblins rush toward Aaron. Killian, worried, but before he can even speak, the goblins are handled with ease. Killian is awestruck with Aaron's speed, and the 4 creatures yield and cower towards Aaron. Killian urges him to finish them off, but Aaron disagrees. We will make them our companions. Everyone is lost for words since it's very rare for humans and demons to coexist. Goblins are gifted with great eyesight, and harpies can secure an aerial advantage. These facts will make them useful in the coming battle. Killian tells Aaron that he has never heard of making a demon a familiar, but Aaron almost slips up and says how he saw it in the past, but quickly saves it and says that he read it in a book. It doesn't matter what someone is, Aaron will put them to work as long as they are useful. He approaches the pack of demons and asks them what are they doing so far in the forest. The big goblin, named Kazal, pleads with Aaron, saying that there are much scarier beasts and all the creatures in the forest stole their hunting grounds, forcing them to come here. Aaron understands the situation and then turns to the harpy and asks it very bluntly, has it ever feasted on a human? Tata, the name of the harpy, cries out saying that it's only ever eaten sheeps and snakes. Aaron thinks back to his days as Raven, and he would constantly see harpies feasting on his dead comrades. But this time, he will believe Tata. But it won't be easy. He stabs his sword into the tree behind the duo and warns them if they try to escape or not obey him, they will become snacks for his dragon. The two, obviously not wanting to become food, agree. Eren is pleased and asks them to lead him to the village in the shortest route. Cazal is familiar with the path and leads him towards the village. Sir Killian, surprised to see Eren so easily tame those demons, and remarks how all the soldiers should learn from his quick thinking. They arrive at the village with Cazal's shortcut, and Eren orders Killian to be on standby and orders Sir Breeden to accompany him to assault the monastery. Lady Luna worries for Eren since he has no combat experience, or that's what she thinks, and Sir Breeden reassures her, saying he will be there to protect her. Eren calls for the strike team to take the field and orders Tata and Cazal to be his eyes in the sky. We now see the scene at the monastery as Joffrey is dragging another mother and child. The child is crying non-stop and Joffrey is reaching his wit's end. He lifts his hand in an attempt to strike the child, but before he can follow through, his arm is cut off. Joffrey is confused on what just happened, but looks up to see Eren atop his horse. The mother is in tears, grateful to see him. "We finally meet, trash," Eren says coldly. Now, looking down on the one-armed Joffrey, the groveling thug tries to get a word out, calling Eren a brat, but is met with a sword to his cheek. "Who gave you permission to speak?" Eren asks, with a stare full of killing intent. The typical evil character that Joffrey is immediately runs and tells his lackeys to attack him. 3 henchmen rush towards Eren, but all he can do is give a bored expression. Eren readies his sword and cuts through the thugs with ease. The movement was so fast that Joffrey's eyes couldn't keep up. Eren stands over the helpless bandit and swings his sword down, but instead of finishing him off, Eren's sword is blocked by none other than Sir Breeden. I always knew this guy was up to something. Is he jealous or what? Eren does not look surprised either, and Sir Breeden takes this opportunity to try and help the bandit leader. And Joffrey also seems confused, but at this point will accept any help he can get. Sir Breeden and him have a common enemy, so he's gonna lend him a hand. Lady Luna lunges forth, demanding to know what her idiot knight thinks he's doing, but Sir Breeden tells her not to be fooled by this piece of trash, which is Eren, and that only he is suitable for her. Even Joffrey comments on the simple reason for his assistance, but welcomes it nonetheless. Joffrey charges Eren with sword in hand, with the only one he has anyways, accompanied by Sir Moron. They scream in unison that Eren will regret looking down on them, and Lady Luna cries out for Eren, but he just looks bored of this farce. He blocks both of their swords with Widow's Grief, propelling the two back. Eren scolds Lady Luna that a non-combatant should just stay back. He will take care of this. Eren leaves Lady Luna in Cazal's care as Cazal is escorting her. She worries for Eren, since a bandit leader and a captain knight will be tough for anyone. Will Eren be alright by himself? She takes a last look towards Eren and blushes. Eren signals Tata to contact Killian. The two clowns remark that it's too late for reinforcements, and Eren will be long dead before they arrive. Is it okay for this guy to be talking this much? Is he not like profusely bleeding through his arm? Eren laughs at these funny jokes and urges the morons to give it a try. He lifts his fingers and signals the two to come at him. Sir Breeden, thinking that he has the edge in battle experience, vows to wipe the smug look off Eren's face and swings at him, but it's easily dodged. When Sir Breeden's sword touches the ground, Eren steps on it, breaking it in two, leaving Sir Breeden stuck in the mud. Before he can even say that it is broken, Eren appears behind him and hits him with a powerful punch to the jaw, sending him into Joffrey. Eren points his sword at the two, laughs and saying they will never be able to touch him with that kind of swordsmanship. Eren says how Sir Breeden was of great help and lifts his sword, saying that this will be his gratitude. With a clean slash, he removes Sir Breeden's left arm, so he can match with Joffrey, of course. Raven is so thoughtful. Sir Breeden is now groveling in agony and totally defeated. Eren mocks him. Isn't it your job to guard Lady Seyrod? What are you doing rolling around on the floor? With his foot on his chest plate, Eren stares into his soul and orders him never to return to this place again. The now one-armed Sir Breeden runs away while crying, and this is now my new favorite scene. Joffrey is now next, and he looks up to Eren and wonders if he made a pact with the devil for this kind of strength. Joffrey states how he still has connections at the castle, and no way Eren can take them all on. But Eren just dismisses this remark and says how his job here is done. And behind him came the soldiers of his house to exterminate the remaining pests. The trash who have betrayed Pendragon. Do not think you will be granted an easy death, Eren says with sword in hand. The horses of Eren's soldiers trample the groveling Joffrey. The scene shifts to Joffrey nailed to a cross, bleeding and battered. Eren stands before him, and behind Eren sits all the victims of Joffrey's wicked actions. Eren turns to see the condition of these poor souls, and sees a pile of human skulls besides them. Eren wakes up the pig Joffrey and asks him if he has killed all of the villagers, since he has not seen any since his arrival. Joffrey is begging for forgiveness, but amnesty will not be given. He stupidly asks if Eren will kill him, but Eren will not be the one to finish him off. He he turns to the tortured villagers and gifts them the life of Joffrey. They are free to do what they wish to him, cook him, burn him, whatever they desire. Eren walks away and the villagers look towards each other. Anger builds among the crowd as they grab anything around them that can be used as a weapon and brutally beat the traitor. Eren is sent back to the fort and enters the room with a holy statue. A bandit was hiding in the shadows and rushes at Eren. Eren blocks his attack with his sheathed sword, pushing him into the staircase before the statue and impaling him, leaving bloodstains on the goddess of light. Eren questions if he will be cursed for so effortlessly sinning in front of the maiden, but even though Eren was gifted another chance, he's gonna stay true to himself. He will respect those who are worthy and punish the scum who take advantage of others. That's the type of a man Eren is. He removes his necklace and tosses it into the donation box. If the goddess wishes to condemn Eren, he only asks that she does so after he has done what he set out to achieve. Eren is seen riding through the northern village, conversing with the villagers who are praising him for his deeds. Long live Pendragon, the happy citizens shout. Eren rides off and is greeted by Kazal and Tata, who ask for some rewards for their hard work. Eren tells the two to wait for him at the campsite, and he will be sure to have a gift ready. Sir Killian states that the village seems to be finally under control, and asks if they're ready to invade the Anona Forest. Eren declines, saying that there's still things he must do. A few days before, at Castle Conrad, Eren is seen asking Lady Atia if it is true that orcs can be used in their favor, and she informs him that the orcs have made a pledge to live in the Pendragon territory. She also states that they have excellent combat prowess, and if Eren can control them, they will be of great use. Eren recalls that orcs care nothing other than fighting and slaughter, and questions on how they will be useful. They will be depending on how Eren can overtake them. Orcs are beings that follow a simple mindset. They follow the strongest beings, and to them, the apex of the food chain is a dragon. But since Eren cannot call upon Soldrake's power, he must convince him himself. Ati remarks how Raven has fought orcs before, it seems, and it's fitting for someone called the God of Death. Raven recalls his fight with a mighty orc. Both combatants are seriously injured, and Raven wonders why this orc will not die, even with so many spears lodged in his body. The orc, unfazed, removes the spears and rushes at Raven. Raven dodges his fierce blows, but worry shows on his face. If this fight gets drawn out, Raven will go down first. He needs to make a decisive blow and aims for the monster's neck. Raven barely sidesteps a wide-arcing slash and uses his chance to lodge his sword in the orc's neck. The neck is thick, so he jumps in the air and uses his weight to bring the sword down, decapitating the orc. This fight was when Eren had just joined the Demon Corps, and remarked how difficult it was at his current level. But he could probably manage it easier now, however. Atia excitedly gives a thumbs up and assures Eren that if he can get the orc's help, surely he can open the mausoleum. You make it sound so easy, Eren says with a concerned look. Back to the present, Eren and his party are traveling towards the forest, and Sir Killian is shocked that Eren plans to make allies with the orcs, and disagrees. Eren comments that raiding the Anona Forest with these few troops will be difficult. They're gonna need the help of the orcs. Killian says if they fight the orcs head on, they're gonna be wiped out. Tata and Kazal agree with Killian because they're scared of orcs as well. Eren, just unfazed, says he dislikes this negative mindset, and if they don't say something useful, they're gonna become dragon treats. A scream can be heard in the back of the party, and a voice is recognized. Sir Breeden. What's happening to this fool now? Kazal, with his keen eye, informs Eren that the Ancona orcs are here. Eren smiles and runs towards the trembling Breeden, who points his shaky sword at the orcs. He begs and asks the orcs to leave him alone, as he falls on the floor, almost accepting his fate. Lady Luna approaches, remarking how only bad things happened since being next to this moron knight. She asks him if he truly understands what he has done. To point your sword towards your duke is pointing your sword towards the Empire, and no rebel is welcome in her house. Sir Breeden, on his last legs, begs to remain by his lady's side. Lady Luna puts him in his place, and his punishment will be served when he returns to the house. The menacing orc asks Sir Breeden why he's pointing his sword at him. Does he want to die? Eren approaches, asking the orc what he's doing, and everyone turns to see Eren. The shameless Sir Breeden begs Eren to save him, and Eren can only wonder how he got his job. Sir Killian urges Eren to proceed with caution. The orcs notice the crest and immediately understand that this boy is the Lord Pendragon. The orc leader is excited to meet him and releases his killing intent. This is orc fear. Killian is paralyzed and cannot move or breathe properly. He turns to Eren to retreat, but sees that he'll be just fine. Eren dismounts and everybody wonders how he can still move. Eren orders his soldiers to remain still and not to draw their weapons. Eren approaches the orc leader face to face and says he will be his opponent. The orcs are confused, but will never shy away from a fight. The orc leader cracks his knuckles in preparation. The two lock eyes and Eren asks if these are the Ancona orcs. Yeah, and? The orc says, leaning closer to intimidate Aaron. Aaron takes a deep breath and headbutts the orc, shocking everyone, including me right now. That was pretty savage. Blood gushes from the orc's nose as he staggers back. The surrounding orcs look at their leader and everyone is lost for words. But the orcs begin to laugh and even comment on how Karta, their leader, has a nosebleed. How can a human make an orc bleed with one hit? They laugh. Karta gets up and asks what the hell Aaron thinks he's doing. Aaron says that he should be the one asking that question, since per their contract, the orcs should be in the forest, yet here they are. Karta explains that this is Aaron's fault since the guardian deity of the forest, Soldrake, has abandoned him, and the orcs refuse to obey a weakling. They refuse to acknowledge Aaron since he has not yet formed a pact with Soldrake. The orcs now consider themselves free to their bloodlust and want to control the area. Aaron understands the situation and he puts his fists together, signaling for a fight. Aaron wants the orc's strength and says this is why he came here. Aaron says that Karta knows the reason he's discarded his weapons. Even though Aaron is only human, he understands the ways of the orc. Karta drops his mace and the two take their stances, ready to prepare for hand-to-hand combat. As long as your opponent does not hold a weapon, you yourself should not hold a weapon either, and if the duel is requested, you should always accept. These are the simple rules of the orcs. The two lock eyes and rush towards each other with reckless abandon. Karta strikes first with a devastating punch that is dodged but leaves a hole in the ground from the impact. Aaron notes that this orc is stronger than normal, and if that punch landed on a normal person, their body would have been shattered. Aaron moves in the air elegantly and prepares a barrage of kicks towards Karta. Karta blocks and the collision from their strikes sends shockwaves towards the spectators. The two separate and Aaron notices the armor around his foot is broken. Karta does not seem as fast as the orc he has fought before and thinks he's holding back. Karta emerges from the smoke and says of course he can't use his full power. A human would die in an instant if he did. He will only use his maximum strength for those who can stop his punch. Raven smirks and accepts the challenge. Karta is heated up and thanks Aaron for getting his blood pumping. What an interesting human, he thinks. The orc picks up the speed and sends a lightning fast jab that is barely evaded by Aaron. The strike leaves behind a cut on Aaron's face, and finally, Karta is taking this seriously. He's enthralled from our protagonist and urges him not to die too easily. He lunges and punches Aaron, who can only block with crossed arms. Aaron takes the full force and staggers back. His supporters are worried for his well-being, and we now see Sir Breeden smiling. Like, dude, do you want to lose your other arm too? The hell are you doing? The smoke clears and Karta is sure he landed his punch, but has a strange feeling from his hands. Aaron steps forward with a bloodied face. This body is only used for fighting small fry, he says, but finally, he's warmed up. Everyone is engaged in the battle and Sir Killian remarks that it is incredible that he withstood a strike from a mighty orc. He has never heard of a human that could beat an orc in a fistfight. His grace is truly a precious heir, and protecting him is their top priority. Killian signals the men to protect their lord, but Aaron stops them, saying how this battle is between him and the orc. Do not interfere. I don't need your protection, Aaron says with determined eyes. The orc, wrapped in black robes, begins to clap. He is fascinated with the human who has survived this long with Karta, the strongest orc in the forest. What an interesting person, he thinks to himself. Aaron tells Karta that it's time to go all out. The warm-up is finished. Karta acknowledges Aaron as the first human to survive after meeting his fist, but it's only a matter of time before his wounds catch up to him. With Aaron's regeneration, something like this is just a flesh wound, and we see the cut on Aaron's face begin to heal and disappear. Karta is shocked but is even more intrigued and launches himself back towards Aaron. With his hands clenched, he strikes downward at Aaron, who dodges. Aaron can only defeat this orc with a powerful strike to a vital point. Firstly, Aaron will have to control his movements. He can take advantage of the orc's primitive mindset. Karta rushes again, taunting Aaron to stop dodging. Where was the energy that he had from before? What a dull orc, Aaron remarks. Are you only capable of swinging your fists? This statement gets the desired result as Karta angrily charges toward Aaron. A furious Karta throws a kick towards Aaron's abdomen. He took the bait. Aaron blocks the orc's kick, but his arm is shattered from the blow. Karta assumes his victory is assured now that Aaron's arm is not usable. But did you not see the plot armor he just showed you, bro? Aaron wraps his previously broken arm around Karta's leg. Gotcha. Aaron is happy to sacrifice his limbs, and this is the end for dear Karta. Karta is confused on how he can still move, and now he understands he's been led into a trap. Aaron sweeps the orc off his feet, and while he is falling, he gets in position above him. Karta, unable to dodge in midair, is met with a devastating kick to the face, which ends their duel. Aaron Pendragon has defeated an orc, and the onlookers are in disbelief. Surprisingly, the orcs are happy and rejoice. They run up to Eren and admire his strength. Karta, the most powerful orc in the forest, has been defeated. Sir Killian, still worried, asks to treat Eren's arm, but Eren feels just fine. You see, his regeneration is a double-edged sword. The pain is twice that of the injury itself, but he is thankful that he's inherited this skill. He opens and closes his fist, signaling that his arm is working just fine. Eren wants to confirm the orc's name. Karta, was it? Serve me, that is an order. Karta grits his teeth, but this is the rule. The loser must follow the winner. What does Eren request of the orcs? Eren shares his plan to conquer the Anona Forest and open the mausoleum to make a pact with Soldrake. The orcs are surprised to hear this. Eren entices them that there will be plenty of battles ahead, so they should be glad. Karta grunts in excitement but remarks that nothing in the forest can be regarded as his equal. The orcs agree and lead Eren to the mausoleum. Eren approaches his knight carrying his sword and unsheathes it. Karta recognizes this blade and kneels, followed by the rest of the orcs. Eren performs a knight's pledge with the orcs, urging them to devote themselves to the House of Pendragon. He expects great things from them. The sun sets and we see the hero on a bridge leaving some of his soldiers to escort Lady Luna. She apologizes for her knight's behavior. Eren looks towards Sir Breeden and warns him, if you betray me again, it's not going to end with just the arm. He turns and tells Karta that it's time to move. Lady Luna, who's been sauced up, tries to run up to him and thinks that surely he will open the mausoleum. Now he has a squad with him and they're looking fierce. On top of the hill in the dead of night, the crew finally see the Anona Forest. There is a mix of fear and anticipation in our heroes. But here, the true battle begins. This is where Eren can finally show off his true skill. Soldrake, inside her mausoleum, dares Eren, the one who does not have the soul of Pendragon, to enter and earn her authority. The group is traversing through the valley and the orcs are making quick work of the hostile beasts. These snakes don't even serve as a warm-up. One of the snakes rushes in at the human soldier, but Eren intercepts it by removing its head, saving the young lad. The soldier is in awe of his lord's skills and thanks Eren for saving him. Kratul is the name of the shaman orc, and Eren leaves the treatment of the injured to him. Sir Killian slides down and, like an annoying parent, asks Eren if he's okay. Sir Killian says the next area is clear so they can continue the march. Eren asks Karta how long it will be until they reach Soldrake's domain. Karta doesn't know exactly, but if they see signs of a quarry, it's just a little bit further. The only thing he knows for sure that there is a cave that connects the two areas. Eren asks if there's anything to worry about in the cave, but Karta doesn't think there is. Eren orders the troops to move out, and if any problems arise, he will take care of them with the orcs. They arrive at the quarry and set up camp, but Eren wonders why this place feels so ominous. He asks Karta why this quarry is sealed. Karta mentions that he doesn't know why it's closed, but he knows that goblins used to work in that cave. But one day, all the goblins suddenly went missing and never came back. Eren looks towards Khazal, but the scared goblin also has no idea what happened here. He's never even heard of goblins working in the mine. Killian asks Eren if something's the matter. Eren still can't put his finger on it, but orders his men to rest for the night and keep watch. The fires are lit and the group begins to rest. A soldier is awoken by a rustle in the bushes and he goes to check it out. But a dark scythe penetrates his body, killing him instantly. He calls for his lord with his dying breath, and Eren feels that something is not right. The goblins wouldn't just disappear. Maybe someone made them disappear. But who? And now we see the necromancer overlooking the camp with his staff in hand. He begins summoning the goblins which he exterminated from the cave to attack Eren's group.